We are breaking down Marc Spector's tragic origin story in Moon Knight episode 5. You know, all that trauma built up, eating and the blaming and all that stuff on him kind of causes him to, one, just go into the military, right? Almost like a death wish immediately in his life.
Yeah.
Where he's already has blame on himself. He doesn't need that extra push. Then we go to the mercenary side where we see the origin of Moon Knight himself.
Yeah.
And you know, Steven again is like, what the hell is this? Like, is this what I think it is? Is this where Layla's dad dies? And it is. We also get confirmation, Rob, that Bushman was his partner, which we talked about last week.
You were right.
Make sure you guys check that out if you missed it. But yeah, Bushman was his partner. I'm glad we didn't see Bushman. I'm also glad the show didn't derail to now Bushman being the antagonist or anything. Hopefully that's like a season 2 thing and beyond. I thought that was a cool aspect where he goes in, he's dying. Khonshu saves him, but I thought Steven had an interesting take where he's like, oh, Khonshu manipulated you from the start.
I understand Steven has a point, but the whole time that was happening, I was just so engrossed on the events that was happening. I turned back into my 12-year-old little self watching The Mummy for the first time, living and eating up the Egyptian lore and hearing a deity on my deathbed saying, I could give you power. And I'm like, yes, please. Right?
Yep.
Like, I didn't even have a chance to think of it. And I'm sure Mark, with all the adrenaline in him, was thinking the same thing. But when you take a step back, you realize, like, yeah, this larger-than-life deity was manipulating you to get what he wants. That's fantastic. But I'm on Mark's side where it's like, I was going to die if I didn't do this. And it's not like I mean, yeah, all the souls weigh on Mark's life. You can see that he remembers everybody he's killed because of Khonshu, the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm still like, all right, I'm killing the worst of the worst. I get to live. It's not a terrible deal, right? I'm going to take it. And, of course, I want to be a super-powered human. So I want to take the deal anytime. You give me a call, Khonshu. I got you. I'm out of shape.
Give me the deal. I'm taking the deal.
But I'll hit the gym for you, Khonshu. Don't worry about it, right?
But, yeah, no, it's taking the Batman equation out of it, right? It's the argument that Peacemaker has with his old man neighbor about, like, you know, if Batman just killed all his villains, we wouldn't have to be talking about this at all. And that's kind of what Moon Knight is a take on, right? The I'm going over the line for the better good. But I love that aspect, and I also loved when we get to the crux of the issue, which is Mark doesn't want Steven to go into the bedroom and realize his mother was this situation that she was in, which in turn, he doesn't show up to her funeral.
At the funeral, we get the confirmation that this is the point of time where Mark and Steven start to split into each other. Mark could have handled being at the funeral and forced Steven to come out, and that's where the barrier that we've seen throughout the whole show that was getting weaker and weaker, that's the beginning of the weakening point. And when the two accept each other and realize that you're not a terrible person, you can't blame yourself for what your mother did, the scales are starting to balance, right? Things are starting to become okay between the two of them, and that they might have a future moving forward.
It was really intense, especially seeing Mark break down in the middle of the street, right? His dad's kind of becking him over through the window, and he's like, I can't. He's like drinking. And he breaks down because, again, it's his mother. Like, he loves his mother, but she was an absolute monster. The transition, one, I could watch Oscar Isaac go from Steven to Mark and Mark to Steven all day.
Yeah.
And just watch that ridiculous, like, change. But then he kind of goes to Steven as his cry for help in a way, right? Like, to be protected and held back here, I need you to take over, which explained Steven calling his mother from episode 1, right?
Yeah.
Steven waking up and not knowing where he is throughout the whole series. This is that connection point, which I think is great too.
Thank you guys for watching this part of the conversation about Marc Spector's true identity and origin in Moon Knight episode 5. We hope you enjoyed it.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, like, really helps the channel out a lot. If you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications. We have one episode of Moon Knight left. You do not want to miss anything going down on the channel right here. And if you missed anything, make sure to check it out right here at all times. As always, I'm Chris Heller. That's Rob Moran. We're the Jersey Comic Crew, and we will see you next time.